Welcome to the wonderful world of travel. I'm Jon Haggins, a GlobeTrotter. I'm sitting here with Bishop Tutu, the 1984 Nobel Prize winner. Has winning the Nobel Peace Prize changed your life?
It certainly opened doors that were previously closed. I was in New York when the announcement was made, and up to that point I had been trying to get an invitation to the White House because I wanted to speak to President Reagan about his constructive engagement policy, which I thought was a disaster. And I wasn't making any headway. But as soon as the announcement came from Oslo, I didn't have to worry. I got an invitation from the White House to visit with President Reagan. So it was important in that regard. The other way in which it might be said to have changed one's life was that you said certain things before you won the Nobel Peace Prize. You said the same things after you had won the Nobel Peace Prize, and people regarded you almost as an oracle. The same things were now imbued with a quality they didn't seem to have had before you had the Nobel Peace Prize. It was important for our people because, one, it helped to maintain our hope in our struggle against apartheid. And it also said that the world cared. The world endorsed the fact that our struggle was a noble struggle, and that it was basically a non-violent struggle. And so I think it was important in that it was a warm tribute to our people.
What do you think was your most defining moment?
Defining moment with regard to the Nobel Peace Prize?
In terms of your entire life?
Defining moment is knowing you are loved, and I don't know when one came to experience the fact that you were loved, not because you were good, not because you were successful, not because you had achieved anything in particular, but that you were loved in and for yourself. And that was important for someone in the black community when everything seemed to conspire to prove that you were not valuable, that you were worthless, that you were regarded as a non-entity. And I think, that it was when one began understanding the fundamentals of our Christian faith, that each of us is created in the image of God, and that invests every one of us with an extraordinary, infinite worth.
What was it like growing up in South Africa?
When you are young, I don't suppose you spend a great deal of time philosophizing. You just live a life, and it seems actually okay. But we lived a very heavily segregated life. Blacks lived in what we used to be called locations, characterized as all ghettos are by deprivation, poverty. You lived mainly in lean-to hovels. We had separate schools. We had separate entrances to post offices, and there was a tension. I remember when one went to town where the white people lived, and sometimes having to run the gauntlet of white boys taunting you with racial slurs. But what was quite extraordinary is the fact that you didn't go around, as it were, moaning and carrying a heavy burden. We enjoyed life, I mean, a deprived life as it was. You didn't go around feeling sorry for yourself, but you noticed certain things. I mean, going into town and you looked at the beautiful schools that white children attended, and you saw black children scavenging in the toilet, in the rubbish bins of these schools, because these children, the white children, were getting government supplied feeding schemes, and many of them didn't need it. They would throw away what they were given by the government because they preferred what their mummies had prepared for them. And those who needed it most, black children, were not getting it. And so some of these images were things that came to be indelibly impressed on your mind as sort of defining the kind of existence black people were experiencing.
What advice would you give someone who wants to follow in your footsteps?
No, I just believe that human beings are good fundamentally. Human beings are not made for hatred, they are made for love. Human beings are not made for nursing grudges, but for forgiving. And if we give people the opportunity and we say, look, here are the alternatives, I would believe that most people would much rather be good than be bad.